Hey you, how are you? I hope you're having a great day. I'm shooting this really late. It's really late at night. Um, so I'm just gonna do part of the slideshow, part of what I was gonna do for today because I'm exhausted and you get another day in there. So we're gonna talk about types of business ownership in this screencast and just the first part of it, and then we'll do the second part tomorrow. Okay? So in your project, you are looking at different businesses, and one of the questions you need to ask them is what type of ownership they have. And um, they are either going to be one of the ones that we're talking about today or tomorrow, obviously. Okay, so when business owners are choosing what type of business to open, they look at these factors like how much money do they have? What is their family situation? Um, Location wise, how much money do they need to be able to invest? And do they have an angel investor or a partner, or do they have a bank that they're going to go to, or the SBA, Small Business Administration, where they can get money from as well? What type of business they're going to choose to open? What types of taxation do they want? We'll talk a little bit more about that. Liability just means like how much responsibility they have, and then how much control they want. So this is an 8-minute video. I would like you to watch that today, just to get a little idea of what the different types of ownership are and how to choose. Okay, so sole proprietor is like the simplest type of business. If you had a lemonade stand, you were technically a sole proprietor, even though you didn't really legally set up a type of business. You have unlimited liability. So if your lemonade stand goes bankrupt, or you spill or your little sibling drinks all the profits, that is your responsibility. Sole proprietor usually has less than 50 employees, usually small home-based business. Maybe your parents even have had one. There's not much government intervention because you can't really steal anything. It's just your own stuff. So if you're going to take money, it's from yourself. And then your business and personal taxes are not separate. So if your business goes under, they can actually come after your personal assets. So it's the easiest to start up, but it's also just a little bit dangerous to start as sole proprietor if you have a lot invested in it. The second type is a partnership. Partnership is pretty common. Two or more business owners that share their experiences, capital, and abilities. So it can look a lot of different ways. It's not always like 50-50. But I worked for a restaurant in St. Paul when I was in my 20s. It was called Joe Sensor's Grill and Bar. And Joe Sensor was a Minnesota Viking. So he got the naming rights of it, but he only owned like 10% of the restaurant. And then his partner, Dan, owned the rest of it. So he was the investor and Joe just had the name on it. And then I think they had a third partner who actually worked in the restaurant. The Culvers in Oconomowoc started that way. It was Mac Dorn from First Bank Oconomowoc, Buck Silky, who opened a few Culvers, and then a woman who ran the restaurant. And they didn't have equal partnership. They just all invested what they could and had different responsibilities. So partners share profit and loss, usually based on the amount of money that they invest. And there's two different types: a general partnership and a limited partnership. So that's all you really need to know about that. Okay, a couple more, and then, okay, corporation. So this one is usually like you think of it as a large organization. It's not really like a physical like structure like the other two where it's easy to start. This is a legal entity that you incorporate. So most of the time corporations don't go out of business. However, there are quite a few that are probably going to be going out. Some have already filed for bankruptcy during COVID. So we will be seeing corporations that we didn't think could go out of business, like Blockbuster that went out of business. The owners purchase shares of stock. So some of you might have shares of stock that your parents have helped you invest, or maybe you did it on your own. It's a minority of U.S. businesses because it's so complicated. You have to have lots of legal consultations before you could start a corporation. But they do have a majority of the sales. Government's heavily involved, more and more every year, just because there's so many people that can go and do things illegally. In a corporation, they can do illegal things everywhere, but lots of crazy things have happened. If you've watched a couple of the movies, I can't think of the name of it right now, or people are embezzling money. The Wolves of Wall Street. No, that's not it. I'll think of it when I'm sleeping tonight. Usually governed by a board of directors. And your parents might be on a board of directors for a corporation, or they might be on a certain type of board. So this is a short little video. on what is a corporation. There's a definition down here for you to look at. And then these are the largest corporations in the world. So take a look at those today as well. And that, no, I'll do a couple more. Okay. So a closed corporation is a type of corporation that just has a few shareholders. To be honest with you, unless you go into corporate law or you work in a corporation high up, you really don't need to know this stuff. I'm just introducing you to it so you can be aware. And if your person that you interview is a closed corporation, you can say, oh, I know what that is. You are typically not making your financial records public. Most corporations have to have an annual report, which is public activity of all their finances, and a closed corporation does not have to do that. They prepare reports for the state, and they have dual taxation. So dual taxation is true of all corporations. There's taxes on the profit that the company makes, and then the shareholders get dividends or money based on the profits, and they also have to pay taxes on that. So it's kind of a ripoff, but it's the way it is. And then there's a C corporation, usually called a C Corp. This is pretty common. You'll hear of this again in your life if you study business. There's unlimited shares to unlimited owners, government regulation, taxes. They do have to prepare an annual report, and there's dual taxation. And then the last one I'll talk about today is a S corporation. You'll probably hear of this one. So very similar to a C Corp. It's designed for smaller businesses with less than 100 shareholders. They have a little bit different regulation involved in it to try to give them the benefit, and they're taxed as a partnership, so they don't have the double taxation. So I'm going to stop there. Tomorrow you'll have a post-test to do on this one. I'm going to skip that for now. Today I want you to make sure that you watch those videos, and I hope you have a really amazing Wednesday.